Don't you just love Excel? It can do all your things, your data analysis, your KPI reporting, your project management. Wonderful tool. Hello, I'm Tom. Welcome to my channel where we talk about continuous improvement in an industrial setting. And today's topic, it is the Excel hell. It is performance excellence. Where do we use Excel? Should we use it? And what else do we have? See, we have this loved and dreaded program Excel. Of course, any other spreadsheet program is the same, but none is so ubiquitous as Microsoft Excel. I like the program. In fact, I love the program. Some people don't like it because they don't know how to use it. That is not what this video is about. This program here can do a lot of things. It can be used in dashboarding, in analysis of data, for project management, a lot, of course, in finance. It can basically be used as a word processor by some. Not a function I like that much, but many information sharing applications are built in Excel. But when you make it a big part of your solution, Excel has a number of very strong weaknesses that you really need to consider. And these are weaknesses like everybody can edit it, it is very fragile. As soon as some links are slightly changed, the whole program stops. As soon as somebody erases a formula, the whole thing stops. You cannot really control the versioning so well, so when somebody makes small changes, others may not notice it and then get wrong results. You are sharing a lot of data. It is intensive on your computer, all kinds of things like that. And then there is this group of people who say you should not use Excel. In fact, the idea came from a LinkedIn post about the hell of Excel, that Excel is the new crack cocaine for businesses. Everyone's addicted to it, and if you know a little bit of Excel, you will use it for everything, and it can really drive your company off a cliff. Now, the post was nice. I mean, it was a nice and funny post, but that came from a company who makes dashboarding software, right? Who has AI to build dashboards, who has better solutions for data management. This is a data company and a visualization company. Of course, they're going to say that you really need to ditch Excel as soon as possible and go for their solution, right? The stronger solution. But I don't think that this is the correct approach either. Excel is ideal as a point-to-point solution, and definitely as a temporary tool and a design tool. It is brilliant. So use it. Use that Excel for your company. Because it gives you the freedom to design things. It gives you the freedom to make data connections, but more importantly, to do all of these analyses, to see if it is worth exploring. And if you are going to do something sort of only once, or maybe once a year, if you're going to do, in our CI world, a deep dive on your losses once every year, and you're going to dive in and try to pluck at the data that you have about your processes, about your losses, and you're just going to be analyzing that. This is often so unique that don't try to make that into a brilliant program. Now, some applications might be very suitable for this, and please do go ahead and develop them, but there is not a big problem here. Excel is ideal for this sort of strong calculating power because it has really good data analysis capabilities, but you're not going to really keep that anyway. Now, when you have an action list that is part of your daily meeting, Excel is a pretty nice way to do it. Just to have a nice, simple list in Excel, basically. But there are stronger programs, more stable programs to do this. Now, and as long as it's an action list, well, it's okay. But when you need to do the same type of dashboarding, the same type of analysis over and over, then you almost always want to have a more suitable system to get the data out of your systems, transform it in the same common way every time, and present it in a nicer way than Excel can do, with easier accessible options to click through for details. You can build that out. And it gives you another very strong advantage of such type of BI tools that Excel doesn't really have, and that is that you can separate the data source from your dashboarding. If you send out Excel, you need to have access to all of the data that is used. Most often, all the data will be included into the Excel file, making the file heavy, but more importantly, getting all the data in there is not always what you want. There might be some privacy data in there, maybe, but more often you will have all kinds of processed data in there that you don't want to be lying around everywhere. And this is just the confidentiality part of it. The other thing is that if you are copying and copying Excel files, you have no version control. You don't know if you have the correct master data unless you make the Excel file from master data every time. So you don't really know where your source of truth is. If you set up proper data models with visualizations, with business intelligence visualizations, you can share those dashboards, those reports, without having to share the source data, and keeping the ability to update that data model a little bit, to change a link, to add some new stuff to it, and not having to have everyone be able to work with the data model. They will just get the overviews that you send out. It makes it a lot easier to communicate and to give that information that is needed. Because what I also see happening, and that's because Excel can do a lot, is even things like a personnel planning. Now, Excel is a very poor database. And when we've got a personnel planning or a project to manage, or even indeed this KPI thing we discussed, but they often need to slice and present data in very different ways. This too, it is a difference between how you insert data and how you show data. Another very important part of Excel, it is easy in Excel to make a hybrid dashboard, which is a good reason to use it right at the beginning. And with a hybrid dashboard, I mean, you take your KPI input partially from OAE registration or defect registration, you just suck that data in, automatically put it in your dashboard, and then you manually enter also the numbers for safety cases, for some logistic data. You enter that manually into the same table, or you even enter all of that data manually. And to make it easy to enter the data, you have to make your report in such a way that it basically resembles a whiteboard, a big piece of paper on the wall, where you write the data in exactly the format that you will be using to present it. With planning especially, and also with project management, you really get this, where you would like to structure, for instance, the personnel data in a separate table. Then you also want your shifts to be in a separate table. You want the actual planning of who goes into which shifts when in a big data table so that you can use it to sort. And then you need a module to enter your planning and a report type of module to show the planning. Now that requires dedicated software generally. Well, you can make it in Excel, but too much trouble for most. So what do you see? People are copying an Excel sheet or making a huge sheet and just hiding parts. And they are trying, and I've done this myself a lot as well, they are trying to get the data entry and the data reporting, the visualization, to get it into one sheet so that you can enter directly where you see it. You are always making compromises between what is easy to put in, what is easy to keep. Can you then afterwards analyze it? Well, with some hidden rows beneath that sort of pick up data in a different way, you only need to change one or two things and your whole layout and your whole system is ruined. And that is exactly where the problem of Excel lies. Because if you rely on it for your planning, for your inventory management, for all kinds of pretty business critical processes, it cannot just fail. If it doesn't work because somebody messed up the formulas, you are in trouble in your organization, and that is not a position where you want to be. So when an Excel file, for whatever reason you use it, when it is designed and you see yourself using it frequently, like a weekly planning that may be used daily, but designed weekly, or a daily sort of KPI or action management, all kinds of things like that, as soon as you see that you have the system in place, see if there's also a better, a more stable solution for it. Once you designed the solution, that is the correct time to think about making it into a permanent solution, into a permanent application. And for that, all of those software packages, those companies that shout that Excel is worthless, that is when they come in. They can make the system for you as well. They can sometimes design very nice control loops for you and help you with that. But I will also not advise that you do not use Excel. See, when you are still learning how you want your information, what type of calculations you want to put in, what type of data you need, the flexibility of Excel is wonderful. And if you go for one of these specialized software packages right from the start, you will put yourself within the limitations of this system. And you will probably need to put everything in place as well in a structured database way, which is not always, well, it's almost always possible, but it's not always easy. It's not always the best way to learn with your business processes how you want to do it. So there, use Excel, use it for prototyping, use it for making sure that you can do it in a good way, get the culture around that you're actually using the data, taking action on it, getting the stuff that you need, and then translate it into an app, into specific software. And also, as I said in the beginning, for those applications where you're not going to repeat the use anyway, stick to Excel. It's nice. I mean, build it, use the analyze, get the conclusions out, forget the file. No problem there. In fact, I would go even one step further, and that is further back in time. When we are designing performance meetings, stuff like that, discussions and registration, I actually like to use paper even more than Excel. When we're doing our KPIs and stuff like that, even project planning, in my current job, I again just picked up a brown paper, a big piece of brown packing paper, and we started putting actions on there again. Just do it the manual, very visual, very physical way also, because that way you can easily prototype. If you just have a big whiteboard and you take a marker and you put the fixed lines on it, and then you take one of those whiteboard markers to put the numbers, use it for 1 or 2 weeks, and you will see with the group, what works, what do we want to add, what do we want to move or remove. And then after a couple of weeks of easily changing the layout a little bit, and just now we know this is what we want, then you either order the pre-printed sticker or you transfer it. Sometimes at that point you can directly go past Excel into the real application. You just let somebody build the same functionality for you in a structured way. Because yes, the physical board, Excel, it is sometimes too easy to change. It creates a point-to-point solution, so it doesn't scale well. And it might be the easiest way to get this one solution going, but in the longer run, you want to use the data capability of things that we generally put in Excel. What do I also mean here? When we are doing OEE analyses and we are connecting a line with tags on the line to read out the machine stats, when we have a very dedicated system to read this out and then immediately do the calculations in some Excel file, you do not get the data out of that file in an easy way again. You want to have a dedicated piece of databasing software and calculation software that puts it into a database or even a data lake in a structured way. Because I will guarantee that as soon as you have good OEE registration or any other registration coming off those lines, the first use case you may have was this OEE registration, just look at what it's doing. But when that data is available, pretty soon somebody else will come in and say, wait a minute, but this is brilliant data to have my technology dashboard as well, to really optimize the system. And if you set up a good line a good system to go from your machinery to a data lake, to a model that does all kinds of calculations, to a visualization, it will, and this is, Excel can do this whole part as a point-to-point solution, so a one-off solution. But if you do it in this structured way, then you can tap in on any of those points and make a lot more data available. And as I said at the beginning, the user of this dashboard does not need direct access to any of these. They will always work if this system is set up correctly, and your other departments will tap in to either the data or the model and make their own additions to the system. But if you set this up without trying it first in Excel, it is a hell of a job, because you don't really know what you want to get out of the system. If you let data analysts build this for you, but then data analysts who don't really know your system, who don't really know your processes, they will generally give you all the information they think is interesting. Now, that is not ideal. For that, you prototype in Excel. So, Excel, in my opinion, has a place in modern data analytics, factory, performance control, technology improvements, all those things that we have within the CI sphere. Excel has a very important role until the role of what it does becomes too important, too frequent. Then indeed we do go over to a more stable solution. That is my rant on the Excel hell, or Excel and performance excellence. I hope you liked it. I hope you liked this short discussion without too much explanation. Hit the like button if you would like sometimes more of these types of rants, and also put one of your frustrations in the comments, or one of your learnings of when to use a specific tool like Excel, PowerPoint, or something else. For now, I wish you the best of luck with your data analysis, your controls, and as always, don't forget to enjoy the continuous improvement journey.